Welcome to the Tiger's Den. I am Toothless Tiger, and this is the voice of Cheryl. I see we have one guest among us, so I'm going to say salute, Laura All Smiles. Glad to see you. We know a few people will be in, and I'm going to wait till one or two people come in before I bring my guest up. But I have a dynamic guest for you guys tonight. It's going to be a great show. Glad to see you, son. My two biggest fans. Hey, nephew. Glad to see you. Okay. I know that people will come in or they won't, and the show must go on. We pride ourselves here in the Tiger's Den as being as timely as we perfectly can, because I know that time is very important, especially to the individual that's giving it to me. So I'm going to go ahead. Hello, Maria, and just let everybody know that I'm going to do all of the hellos, Wilma, right now, because I'm not going to be shouting out throughout the interview. And I'd like for you, as you guys always do, to help me out and greet the public as they come. I also won't be doing the Cash App every time it hits, if it should hit. I'll do it a little later. I want to stay in tune with the interview and let him speak, because we need to hear what he has to say. So, right now, let me tell you, y'all know I do this every week. I have all my stuff ready. I had my bio up here and I was ready to go. And now I don't see my bio. So let me get to my bio so I can read it like only I can. Give me 1 second. And I will introduce my guest. I know the information because I read over it, but I want to read it so that you can know the information. Mr. Townsie is a very interesting young man, and he has a beautiful story to tell. And I'm not pulling up the right email, so let me go and pull up my other email. Do that right quick. And as I pull up my email, let me just all right, everybody, we're good to go. And I want to introduce to you Mr. Nathan Townsie. He is a teacher, an inventor, and a CEO of two brands, Nature Loves You, Skincare, and Create Your Own Products. Driven by his passion for education and entrepreneurship, Nathan has used his talents to improve educational systems and foster small business startups. Throughout his journey, he was the recipient of the TEA, and that's the Texas Education Association, Eligible Best Practices Award, was a product finalist for QVC, and a semifinalist for Shark Tank Dallas. And in case y'all didn't know it, we do have Mark Cuban here. all while helping over 500 plus aspiring entrepreneurs to launch their own brands. In the future, he hopes to transform his hometown of Oak Cliff, Texas, into a thriving ecosystem of educational and entrepreneurial excellence. And without any further ado, allow me to introduce to you Mr. Nathan Townsie.
Hello.
Hello, Nathan. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Well, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you accepted the invitation. I see you're a busy man. You have a lot under your belt.
Yeah, I got
So
a lot
I
going
want
on.
to jump right into this because I think this is some things that our people could take note. And hopefully you guys got a pen and paper. And if you have any questions, then know that they're, welcome. And please engage him as he share with you. Nathan, how has your journey in education been?
I'll be honest. It's been an interesting journey. It's been an interesting journey. I've been in the game for almost 2 decades. So I graduated and I went straight into education, right into, like the urban Oak Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, like a pretty good experience, but a lot has gone on in 2 decades. And
Okay.
so just as you see society moving, all that is reflected in schools. And
Okay.
so I've definitely seen a lot. I've seen a lot of good. And just over the years, I'm proud of a lot of the work that I've done. I'm proud of a lot of the students that I've helped. But there's been a lot of challenges. Like I've had a lot of stuff go wrong. Like when I say some high level stuff, man, it's I should write a book with some of the stuff
Have you
I've seen.
considered it?
At some point. At some point, if I write a book, I might out some people. So I need to make sure I'm out the game before. Yeah, if I write a book, I'm naming names. I'm like, I'm naming times, day. I'm telling everybody where the bodies are buried. So
Okay, you
it's
sound like
so,
me. Okay.
yeah. So in
That's
that
one thing I
regard,
share with people when you're telling your story. Sometimes you're telling somebody else's secrets when you're
yeah,
sharing your story. Yeah.
yeah. Like if we're gonna be honest, yeah, then there's a lot of things that are going, that will come out that I would hate for for it to hurt someone, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that is so very true. Um, as I stated, I'm going to be shouting people out, not throughout our interview, but Uncle Suge came through, and that's one of the guys that I really care about on this system, and one of the greater content creators who deal with everyday issues, what's going on now. And so he supports me, and I love that support. So I want to thank him for coming and showing up for me because he does that quite often. And Awesome Powers and So Ivy, I love you guys. So thank you all for being here for me. And of course, Maria, you always I couldn't make it without you. And Cookies World, Grand Rising. Thank you. Okay. Now tell me, Nathan, what is your greatest achievement?
Um, I think I have a bunch of stuff to be proud of in education, but I would probably say the biggest was the one that was in the bio, and that was when I won the TEA Best Practices Clearinghouse Award. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Myself and a co-teacher, like we won it for algebra in 2012, and that's like a huge achievement to get that from the whole state of Texas. I mean, that's like out of all the algebra teachers, we got it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a very interesting story. It's a very interesting story. How
Would you
that.
like to share?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, um, I worked at Griner Middle School in Oak Cliff,
Mm-hmm.
and we fed into 3 high schools. We fed into Adamson, Sunset, and Molina.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, the math scores for those schools just dramatically went up.
Mm.
And no one could explain why those scores in those high schools just went up all of a sudden. So
Mm-hmm.
the TA came down to investigate because they thought they were cheating on the STAR test.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they investigated, they couldn't see any cheating, but it was weird for them because their high school teachers were the same. And it was like all of a sudden there was a spike up in scores, but the teachers were the same. And so they couldn't really find any correlation. So someone had the idea, well, maybe they all came from the same place. So when they started tracking the kids, they noticed the kids with the highest scores, even though they went to different high schools, they all went to the same middle school.
Okay.
And when they realized they all went to the same middle school, they realized they all had the same teachers. They only had, the same two teachers. And it was myself and my co-teacher. When they realized, oh, these guys were the catalysts for the high school scores.
It was your teaching. It wasn't their cheating.
Yes.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And so when they found that out, they just did a little, research and, a little like I guess analysis to see what were we doing in those classrooms, or how do we teach in such a way that was so effective that it even translated to high school. And so, that was exciting, to win that award. I guess one other big thing I'm proud of is I also started a Black male and female mentoring program called the Brothers and Sisters United. And so, the group is no longer active because I left the campus, but we did that for a couple of years, and the stuff I learned there, I used that knowledge to help a good friend of mine who is the authority on critical race theory.
Okay.
In Texas. And so he was the one who used that knowledge in order to pilot other programs, which spun off into, the critical race theory, it's like curriculum, for Texas.
Okay. I've seen a lady on YouTube who kind of talked about that critical race theory. And
it's huge in Texas. It's
well, we need to talk because, I don't know if Greg told you, but I'm, I am truly a person that I've been on this journey for 9 years, and Greg actually started me on the journey,
Okay.
When I sent him off to school. And of course, you guys go to learn, but we tell y'all we want you to learn. And then when you come home and tell us what you learned, we don't want to hear shit y'all have to say because, it takes me away from everything that I knew growing up. And so we used to have conversations, and it would finally get to the point where we would go with, but maybe it's the Constitution that's the problem. And the Constitution is the problem, but it's not the problem that people think it's the problem. The problem is we don't know it and how to use it. That's the problem. So I started doing my own research, and he had turned me on to several scholars, and I started looking at them, and I understand life a whole lot different than most people, and that's okay. We all have to find it when we find it, but I would love to talk about that one day. But right now we're here to talk about and celebrate you. And so my next question is, what is your greatest challenges?
Well, I would say like in education, we're heading in a very weird direction. Like school is nothing but a reflection of home. And so as we see the more chaos in the home, we just have chaos in school.
Okay.
And so, parents, I've seen some crazy stuff, and we wonder why schools are getting out of control. And I've taught at all levels. I've taught elementary, I've taught middle school, I've dealt with high school students. Even currently, I do work at 2 local universities. So I've seen the full gamut, of education. And it's a sad thing to know that, let's say at elementary school, you have a kid getting dropped off in the morning and they get out of their parents' car and they smell like weed. And the parents are playing, twerk it out music. How is that kid in an environment that's going to be beneficial to them? And yes, there might be one kid who makes it out, might be 2 kids who make it out. But overall, that kid is in an environment where they're not set up to succeed. And also you just see, we don't want to teach this in school because this is going to offend this person. We don't know what we want to do with the bathrooms. People are taking their kids out of school they're
Mhm.
homeschooling or they're sending them to charter schools. There's just so much happening that I just wonder where the education process is going to be in 10 years.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly where it's headed.
Well, I think we go from one, end of the pendulum swings way this way to the next way, because when you look at the education system that we really have, it's really not an education system. Well, maybe it is an education system for animals. It's not an erudition system where the children are actually learning because of the subject matter and, of course, the way they teach. It's good that's in you and you just defied the way that they teach, because if you just did it the way that they teach, your children wouldn't have come to those scores. You wouldn't have never put that in it. But being who you are, you had to be who you are, and you made a difference all over. And this great state of Texas is a
Oh,
good old boy state.
oh
So
yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah. I've taught in a couple of districts, and everybody didn't like my teaching style.
No, I'm
Uh,
sure.
yeah, when I was in Dallas, Dallas was more of a metrics based. They
Mm-hmm.
don't really care what you do as long as
Mm-hmm.
it's effective. You
Okay.
know, at the end of the day, did you reach your benchmark? Did you reach the goal?
Okay.
Other districts don't have that. So the way I taught is more, I like to see where everybody is and address each individual issue. Everyone's not at the same level. So don't teach
Mm-hmm.
everybody the same.
Mm.
I've taught in other districts in the suburbs who, no, they do not have that. They want you to teach from a script, read this script line by line, and treat the kids like robots. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you have kids that aren't succeeding, my natural instinct is to go in and say, hey, this isn't working for this group. Let me adjust it. I'll change it to give them something that's beneficial. And they said, no, you can't do that here. No, we said you read off the script. That's what you read. And I said, yeah, this isn't going to work.
I want you to read this question. If you can see this, you just answered it for her. She's excited.
Yeah, where do I see the future fit? Honestly, I say in about 10, 15, by the end of 20 years, everything is going to be e-learning. They do not want, like, there are systems in place from the Zuckerbergs of the world to the powers that be. They really want everything in the so-called metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want people leaving home. They want everything to be, put on a headset, plug information into your phone, plug information into your VR set. They don't want you to leave home. And they're going to have virtual teachers, metaverse teachers. People aren't going to go to universities the way we know it now. So people are going to get phased out of a lot of areas that are normal now.
Mm-hmm.
That we just think it's normal to have a teacher. We think it's normal to have a doctor. I was talking to a friend who said she had a virtual optometrist,
Mm.
meaning she
You
went
have a birth.
uh,
Okay.
like, so basically she went into a very small clinic. Let's say a Walgreens that just
Mm-hmm.
had a little kiosk, and she went in, had a seat, and stuck her eyes into the goggles, and someone who was in another state got the information that was uploaded after they scanned her eye, determined
Mm.
her prescription, and just sent it over. And so she didn't have to see a physical person.
Mm.
And so imagine now you've taken an optometrist and rendered him useless, because now I don't need 10 of y'all. I can get 2 of y'all to do the same job.
And we
And
don't
so,
know if the people can really see or not.
yeah, well, now, like, it's just like the option where I guess if they didn't like it, they can send the glasses back,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. But it was just so interesting how, people are getting phased out. There's definitely, and the fact that school has gotten so political.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my kid to go to this type of school because they're not teaching this. I don't want to go to that type of school because they're teaching that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my kid is this identification and they need to get special services, or there's so much, and so I do think everything is kind of tearing itself apart, and it's sad because I've seen a lot of good teachers leave the profession, and they
Mm.
life changing, but it's a tough job to have. I've seen violence against teachers. I mean, if there was anything, I think teachers would leave the profession before students would.
You think so?
Yeah, the way things are going with the pay, with the benefits. Yeah, I do think that if, the teachers, I know there's a lot of teachers who are actively looking for something else. And if they could find something on a permanent basis, they would be out of here. Like, like the average teaching career is only 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. Like, yeah, the teachers aren't even lasting, half a decade. They're not even lasting 5 years. It's a 3 to 4 year window for new teachers. They come in, they see it, they're like, no, this is too much. This is overwhelming. This is crazy. And they leave. They go do something else.
Well, you know what? You almost can't too much blame them.
No.
Because
I do
they're the
not.
most underpaid people that render the next to a doctor, a physician, that will actually save a life. These people actually help mold and shape lives in order for them to be who they need to be. And they're so underpaid and under respected. They're not respected at all,
Absolutely.
And I wanted you to go back before we switch gears, because we're going to switch gears in just a second.
Okay.
I wanted you to go back to from I call us Asiatic human beings because the landmass was known as Asia. We're people of the earth, so I am Asiatic. Okay, so now let me just ask you this question.
Okay.
What could parents, because we know about the craziness and the chaos and stuff, and what you see in the children is definitely what is going on in their homes, whether they're telling it or not. And what most parents don't understand, that you can forbade your child to speak, but if they don't speak it, body language does not lie. Some people are trained to see body language and read what's going on. Some people don't give a damn because they're underpaid and they got their own shit going on at home.
Yeah.
But as an educator and an Asiatic man, because we need men around our children.
Yeah.
But just give me some of the suggestions that you think that the parents can do, even if the home is chaotic, some of the things they can do to help their scholars.
Number one, and this is easy, there's so many free apps that people can use, because what's happening is parents are throwing, technology in front of their kids anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, here, get on your phone. Here, get on your tablet. Here, get
Mm-hmm.
on your iPad or something. Well, if kids are going to be on technology all day, I mean, that's not a great thing. But if they're going to do it, get some free apps that can help them. Like, go to Khan Academy. That's free, and go to ABC Mouse. There's so many free programs, or something like let the kids watch PBS Kids online. Like, expose them to some good stuff. They shouldn't be on negative YouTube all day, or just, and these are things that are free. Also, just be encouraging, just as a parent, just try to encourage your kids, ask questions, give grace to teachers. Like, sometimes parents put on teachers what they themselves are not willing to do.
Yes.
And you'd be shocked, kids tell teachers a lot.
Yes.
They might not tell every teacher everything, but they tell teachers a lot.
If they find that favorite one,
we know what's going on at home, because once that kid tells that favorite teacher tells all of us. So we can be aware of what's going on, not to be nosy, but we can be aware, oh, Stephanie is sad because her grandfather passed away. Oh, okay. Well, now when we go to the classroom, don't bother her too much while she didn't have her homework. Or, just give her a couple, give her some space or something like that, But teachers, if you want to know what's going on in the household, ask the teachers. The teachers know, because the kids tell us everything.
So do you think then, maybe, do you think that the teachers show that kind of care? Because we have a teacher here in Oak Cliff at Oliver Wendell Homes, and she's most dynamic principal I know, Miss Jackson. But she has a love for the children. Number one, she grew up in the neighborhood. Number two, she went to that junior high school. Number three, she know the woes of what goes on in the community. But do you think that most people that are like that, um, all ethnicities feel that same compassion?
No.
And so if you don't have somebody that looks like you or that can relate to you, you would probably get missed or caught up
Well,
in a
I do
system.
think, yeah, I do think there's some element of that.
Okay.
I don't want to pin it all down on that
Okay.
because as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
teachers care. If I had to just put an eyeball percentage on it, I would say 80% of teachers really do care about their students. You
Okay.
know,
I
maybe
can
even
go with
85,
that.
yeah, maybe even 85%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you caring does not mean you're connecting.
Okay.
There is a difference. I can care about my students. That don't mean I connect with my students.
That's right.
And some of that can be cultural. I mean, some of it can be because I'm a man, they're girls, females. Some of it could be because I'm black and they're not of the same ethnicity, because some could be a language barrier. There's a lot of art and just perception. Maybe I'm someone who, because I'm an adult,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to associate with an adult. But I think the name of the game is that at some point there should be some teacher who connects with you on some level.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to connect with every teacher. Okay. It's just not going to happen, especially at the middle school, high school level, where now you have 10 teachers. When you
Mm-hmm.
were in elementary, you only had one teacher for the whole day. But
Yes.
when you get to middle school, now you have 8, you have 10. And you might not connect with everybody, but you should at least connect with one or two. And then those teachers, can fill in the gap.
Okay.
Because teachers are I think the legal term is plantis parentis, which means in place of parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're in charge of the kids as if they were our children, you know.
Exactly.
And so I think most teachers come to the table assuming, hey, I'm like a temporary, parent to you, but that doesn't mean that it's taken that way by the students. And so
Exactly.
you do have to kind of bridge the gap if you can. There's some things that I do. I don't know Spanish very well, but I'll attempt to speak it sometimes, or I'll go to the students' basketball games, soccer games, football. I've gone to dozens of quinceañeras over the years. I've kept up with some students on Facebook.
Okay.
Now they're adults now, not when they were kids. It's illegal to contact
Exactly.
them when they're still children. But when they're adults, a lot of times if they remembered you or connected with you, they'll reach out to you.
Exactly.
You know, and
Nothing
so
you can do about that, but decline. But yeah, my sister, she worked in Grand Prairie ISD when she worked, and she worked with a lot of the troubled children.
yeah,
And she wasn't quite a teacher; she was a paraprofessional. But she had the ISS, and do you know that she got those children to do homework? To actually, she found out so many of them could read and could write where the teachers thought they couldn't. And do you know they would also get in trouble just to come back to her
yeah, just
room?
to come back. Yeah,
Because she connected with them and they didn't connect with any other teachers. They were problem children, they said in other classes. But she made that connection and she used to talk. And what was funny about it, my sister, she is not no ghetto girl, but she know rap songs and she
yeah,
would talk to them in the rap songs when she speak. She
yeah,
wouldn't sing it, she would just use those lyrics. And they were so in awe of her knowing the songs, so
yeah,
they wanted to be around her.
yeah. I
The
feel
funny
like
part is my sister, I didn't even think she liked children. Shit. But she was one of the greatest teachers that they had. So it makes a difference in that
yeah, it does.
connectability.
Well,
Yeah.
you try to connect with kids wherever you can. You
Yes.
know, I'm not into rap like that, but I am a black man, so a lot of
Yes.
black students look at me and they kind of want to pick up on, okay, how cool is he? Things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not really into the rap as much, but I try to connect with them like, hey, video games, hey, sports,
Mm-hmm.
something, history. I try to connect with kids on some level, and sometimes that can play in your favor to be of the same culture. Sometimes that can actually play against you.
Against you.
Yeah, because I've been teaching a long time. I've been teaching nearly 20 years, and I've
Okay.
noticed that some schools, the kids react differently to me because of
Hmm.
my race and because I'm a man.
Okay.
And so some students, they are like, oh, wow, look at this guy. Other people expect you to be their friend or cool, like a cool uncle or a cool homeboy because you're a black guy like they are. And
Hmm.
it's like, no, I'm not your friend in the sense. I'm your teacher first, then I can be your friend. Because what you cannot do is be friend first and then try to be
You can't do it. You got to
yeah.
establish.
Yeah.
You got to establish.
And so you kind of have to, weigh how that works.
Yes.
Every dynamic is different. Every batch of kids is different. Every
Hmm.
year is different. And you got to try to, you have to reinvent yourself
Yes.
um, every year. Some of the stuff I did when I was in Dallas ISD, I don't do in other districts.
Okay.
Like for instance, I would score on my kids and I would roast them and they would roast me too.
She used to do
Man, they'd get on me. I come in the room, they talk about my shoes, they talk about my shirt, and I'm like, oh, okay, really? I would roast them so hard, the whole class would be laughing, and we would just go back and forth. And so, but I had that type of rapport with those kids because they were more hood kids.
Okay.
They could deal with us going back and forth, and there was no cell phones being taken out. There was no one
That's
recording.
what I had to tell her when they did.
Yeah, there was no one going to the principal. Everyone, we all laughed and had a
Y'all
good
had
time.
fun.
But
Yeah.
I used that to say, hey, if y'all don't do y'all's work, we're not gonna laugh and joke like that anymore.
Okay.
And they would straighten up, like, oh man, I want to hear, like I want to joke with him, or I want him to tell one of his crazy stories.
Hmm.
And that's something I could do with that demographic. I've tried that other places, and no, they didn't go so well. They would, Mr. Townsie, I heard you're talking about the kids and hurt. And I was like, okay, you know what? My bad. I didn't know.
You
I
gotta
thought
have
I
a parent conference.
Yeah, now they want to, I'm like, well, now I know this is a different demographic and everybody can't handle, the cultural norms that go in some areas that transfer to another area. So, but you have to still find a way to adjust and connect with students and still get along with parents and, your colleagues.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. So now we're going to shift gears because you're multifaceted. I mean, just a great guy. So let me ask you, how did you get started with your skincare business and your later e-learning?
Um, so I had a son about 10 years ago, and when he was born, he had eczema. He had infant eczema.
Mm-hmm.
And, the pediatrician and the dermatologist, and, they recommended, some things, some Aveeno, some prescriptions. But when I looked at the ingredients, I looked and I said, this stuff these got some weird chemicals. This doesn't sound right. And
Mm-hmm.
me just doing some easy background research, I noticed a couple of the ingredients, were carcinogenic. They cause cancer, they cause, hormone issues. And I just thought to myself, why would I put this on a baby, on an infant
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't even have a developed, like immune system? So I kind of went down the natural skincare track where I tried to find things on my own. And, you find something here, you find something there, but nothing was really sticking.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of went into kind of like, like, I don't know, like natural herbs and things like that, and kind of
Okay.
learned about, naturalism. And so I wound up making something that was really good for his skin and it worked so well. I just thought to myself, well, why don't I spread the wealth? Why don't I share the wealth? And so, yeah, and then from there, I found a manufacturer. We signed contracts and whatever, and I had to make my products.
Boy, that is really something.
And
And,
it's been, it's been going, pretty well for about, for several years now. Like it's been really, picking up, to the point where, we have reached some very nice sales, numbers.
and so tell us just a little bit about the products and like what products do you offer and what are the ranges? And
Oh, okay. Yeah. So my company is, I guess Nature Loves You Skincare. And, we have a website. We're on Instagram, the whole 9 yards.
I
We
didn't
use,
have your Instagram information, but I do have the website that I have running. I don't
oh,
see the ticker tape. Uh, we've been talking all this time, and my tape is not there. Let me make sure that it should be running because it has your information there. But I only had the website, so if you would, you can type into the chat if you like.
oh, okay.
And one of my moderators, they're pretty good. They probably done looked you up by now, but just in case they haven't, you can type into the chat, your IG address or whatever. But yeah, I have your website next to your name in here. So
Okay. I'm typing it in right now. Okay. There we go.
yeah, that's great. I didn't know we didn't have that
Oh, yeah.
up
No
there.
big. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. So some of the things that, that I sold, of course, I sell like an eczema balm, an all natural eczema balm, a 4-in-1 shave oil. We had, moisturizing rejuvenation serum to kind of, help with anti-aging. We're
Mm-hmm.
actually, sold out of that right now. And during the pandemic, I actually switched it up a little bit and started selling what's sanitizer spray, like
Mm-hmm.
a vegan hand sanitizer spray. And
Okay.
all of our products are USDA certified organic
Mm-hmm.
or USDA certified vegan.
Okay.
So, so everything's been, vetted, tested, made in the FDA registered facility. So everything's on the up and up.
Okay. That is fantastic. So now and the later e-learning.
So over the years, I mean, I don't know anybody who's created their own skincare product at the level that I did. I mean, I've met
Okay.
people who, they've made products at home. They might sell it at the farmer's market. They might sell it to friends and family or something like that. But not anything that is professionally packaged. They might not have a UPC code, a barcode. They might not even be a registered company.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I have all the legal paperwork, all that, all those type of things. But over the years, a lot of people have come to me for business help,
Mm-hmm.
and they've asked, "Hey, I have an idea for a hair care product. I have an idea for, someone came to me about a year ago and they asked about they wanted to make an organic tampon. I've
Mm-hmm.
had people who want to make, deodorant. I've had people who want to
Mm-hmm.
make all kind of items, and they, ask me for my help. And I don't mind helping anybody, you
Mm-hmm.
know, especially, black people or brown people or whatever skin tone we have, sienna, like people of the diaspora, just because I know we don't always get the business help we need. So I have no problem
Mm-hmm.
helping people. And at some point I said, you know what, I'm getting so many requests. Maybe I need to monetize some of
Mm-hmm.
this, some of this. So I created like a master class that goes through the steps of how to create, if you have a idea for hair care products, skin care, hair care, body care, whatever, you have an idea for that type of personal care product, I can show you the steps of how to go from step one all the way down to completed product.
That is great. I didn't know. Boy, I tell you, you are truly a jewel.
Oh,
Okay, let
oh,
me ask you, what roadblocks have you encountered?
man, okay, okay. So I didn't know what I was doing, so I've gone through a lot of different avenues to try to get some business assistance. I went to the Small Business Development Center, and they were
Okay.
okay. They were, they're helpful on the technical stuff. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we can help you write a formal business plan. We can help you with financial projections. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, man, I need to learn how to sell these products. There's some stuff that that they can't really get around. I went to SCORE, the business, and that was a disaster.
Okay.
I'm not trying to trash the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I ran into some not so great people doesn't mean the organization is.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
that was just a roadblock. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go about a different way. Money, I was doing all this on a teacher salary. I've had that. I've had a lot of scammers. There are so many.
Boy, that's what you meet right here on YouTube.
There are so many scams. I mean,
It's
everybody's,
unbelievable.
and they're promising me the secret sauce, and you know, and they ain't selling nothing delicious. It's like, what is this? So, okay, so I started the course to help people create their own products from start to scratch. Right? I don't mind helping people. I promise you, I've helped over like 50 people over the years, really step by step to help them out. You know, and that's separate from the class. Well, I've reached out to a couple of people for assistance, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't need them to walk me step by step. I just need a general push. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, so like imagine if I come to you and I say, hey, you're an accountant. I'm going to be an accountant. Can you tell me what's the best school for that? And so little questions like that, I would just ask people who are in the industry who look like us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had this one girl, I won't drop any names, but she owns a skincare company here. She's in Walmart, she's in Target, and she's local. She's based in Dallas.
Mm.
And we've met at a couple of trade shows. So one
Okay.
day I asked her, like, hey, I'd like to get in the Target or Walmart. So I asked her, did you use a distributor? Did you use a broker? Did you, which avenue did you use? I'm not asking you, for your secret ingredient. I'm just asking you, which direction did you go? And she said, oh, no problem. I'll be sure to help you. We can sit down and talk
What?
for a $16,000 fee.
What?
And I said, $16,000? I was like, you're gonna charge me $16,000 for you to answer that question? I didn't even ask you which distributor you use. I didn't ask you which broker. I just asked which one did you use. That's just a one-word answer. And that person tried to finesse that into $16,000 with ongoing meetings. And I just thought, and I've run into so many people like that. I've run into so many people who are like, yeah, I'll help you, but it's going to be a fee. And I'm not asking for a detailed, I'm not asking these people to do hard work. I'm just asking a general question. Hey, which direction did you go? Hey, did you go to this trade show or did you go to that trade show? All I'm asking. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll answer that question for $3,000. And I'm like, oh, really? So because I saw how unscrupulous people can be and selfish
Mm-hmm.
people can be with information, I didn't want to be that way at all. So I've helped a lot of people, even though I have a master class that I, of course, charge for. I've given some of those classes away for free just
Yeah.
because I wanted to help somebody. And I was like, listen, God done help me. I'm going to help y'all, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the way I find on YouTube, and we were kind of talking about that. It's really amazing how you want to help so many people. I don't know. I don't have the mindset of how to monetize. You know how they say know your worth.
Yeah.
Well, to me, I'm priceless, so it's very hard to know your worth. And so you try to give to people to help them get the opportunity that you have innately. It's in you to do whatever it is that you do. And so you try to give that opportunity to other people by helping them, and then they think they're beating you, or they think they're slicker than you, or they try to take you and become them, but they really want to be you,
Yeah.
and then they're undermined and underhanded. And I had to learn that with YouTube. With the people that I have a few people that support me. I'd rather have the few people that support me than to have a million subscribers and no support at all.
Yeah.
I tell them this is something I would do for free. But if you're giving away cash apps, and if you're giving away super chats, hell, I want them too.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
for it. The
Definitely.
workman is worthy of their hire. I'm not going to beat you. I'm not going to cheat you. I'm not selling you no lies and no dreams. I'm giving you my story and my research. And if you do the same, you too can know what I know or go where I've been. But just back on that small business, matter of fact, I know the guy who's now the new director over that organization for the federal government. We used to work together at the IRS as revenue officers. And
Okay.
he went back home and came back. He went through a lot of stuff back home, moving up with the city and everything. And now he's the director over the small business
Oh, okay.
organization here in Dallas. And so
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a great
Like, what?
accomplishment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then
Anthony. I know
yeah,
him personally.
yeah, I might want to connect with you because I do have some ambitions. I really want to help people. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah, we need to connect for real.
like, and I don't mean in the sense of, oh, please connect with this person so I can grow my business. No, I mean connect me with this person so I can help mentor people who have business ideas. So, like one of the things that like I can kind of share this. I have a passion for Oak Cliff. I really want to see Oak Cliff grow, Oak Cliff
Me too.
thrive. And there's so many, we have the resources in place. We even have some of the organizations in place. We don't have the right people in place. And
That's
I'm
it.
saying, that because I know some of these people personally, and
Okay.
they love their titles.
Yes.
They don't care if they have an impact on the community. There are people who have executive titles, they have president titles, executive, director, executive president, or whatever they have these titles. But if you were to ever ask them, well, what impact have you had on the community? How many businesses have you launched? How many businesses have you launched or incubated that are successful, that are in the
Hmm.
black? How many people have you just helped on a small level, like teach people how to do an LLC? They don't have to hire a lawyer. You can help. You can walk them through the steps, or give them small business grants, even if it's just $1,000 just to get started. We
Hmm.
have the funds, we have the money. We don't have the people who have the vision. People just they sit behind their social media accounts and they take pictures and they look big and they got this and they have these titles. No impact. No one can even. There's so many entrepreneurs who are in Oak Cliff, are people who are aspiring, and they reach out to certain groups. They don't hear back from them. They don't get any help. They don't get any assistance. It's just very inconsistent. And I'd like to change that. So if your friend is open, I'm willing to, hey, listen, I
Yeah.
have some things we have in place.
I'll hit him up. I used to know his personal cell phone number, but when he moved back to Cleveland, we kind of kept in touch through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But it should be no problem with me because he's innovative, and he was innovative when I met him. When I met him at the IRS, and he was going places, and you could tell he wrote that book. Matter of fact, he did
Oh,
go ahead and write a book, and it was very good. It's called The
oh,
Conversation Piece. I don't know if he ever put it out there, for publishing, but he was into like the spoken word and stuff like that. He's real
oh,
great, but
nice.
yeah, he's really good with that. Um, and I'll give Greg to tell you his name, and then I'll try to get in touch with him so that
Okay.
you can hook up with him.
Oh, thank you.
He's a great guy. Yeah, he's a very great guy. Um, we're down to our last 10 minutes, and because I respect your time, I try to keep my interviews to 1 hour. So
Okay.
if we have some things we haven't touched, if there are some things that you would like to share with us, because just with school being in, and I know what parents are going through, and with all of the knowledge that you have, and the entrepreneurship and that master class, do you have a link or something you can put in there for the master class inside
Oh,
the chat
I
or something? Or
don't.
you can get it back to me, but I would like for it to be in there.
I thought I did. I pressed this private chat button and I've
Okay,
put.
that came to me if you did private chat. Let me look.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Let me
yeah.
look.
So all these things, I thought I was putting in the main chat. I guess I put it in the wrong chat.
It was going to me. If you put it up there, then I can cut and paste it. I do
Okay.
know how to do that. Greg always tell me you old folks ought to keep y'all ass out this technology, and he ain't about lying. But I done learned a little something since I've been on here. I've had some nice people to show me some things, but I don't see where it's showing me. Here it is, right here. I got 3. Okay, I got it. Let me just copy and paste. So now we're rounding down to our last 10 minutes. What I'd like for you to do is, if you would, let me ask you, are you dating?
Am I dating? Well, that I am. That I am. I'm trying to see. Like I want to be married. I was married once upon a time, not no more. But marriage is a good thing. So I'm trying to get back out there. But it's different out here in these streets, man. It's different from the time when I started. Like the time being a young man and the time I am now. I'm like, man, this thing is different. This thing is different.
I think I just put it in there twice. Hell, I don't know what the hell I did, but we finna put it in the chat. Hold on a minute. Let me do this. Okay, and then what I want you to do is take us out with how is the dating climate in 2022 for
Uh,
those that are trying to date and want to get with somebody.
it's listen, man, just it ain't for the faint of heart. Don't come in with make sure you have some high self-esteem because it's definitely different. I mean, I'm 40 years old, well, 40 plus. So the dating world when I was 20 is different from the way it was when I was 30, and it's different from the way it is now that I'm 40, you know.
Okay.
And um it's a lot more predatory. It's definitely a lot more usury, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and it's different from this perspective. Like getting a first date 20 years ago was actually a big event. You didn't go on first dates like that all the time. Like it was a big to do. It was suit and tie, flowers, the whole 9 yards. Now, man, you can get a first date just by click of a button. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can go on one of these apps, whether it's Tinder, Hinge, Match, POF, OKCupid, whatever app you're on. It doesn't. As long as you keep swiping in the right direction, you'll find somebody to go out with at some point. You know, and so you really have to make sure that you're coming in with the mindset that that you're serious. You got to be able to discern very quickly who's for you and who's just trying to see what they can get. So you definitely have to be on your P's and Q's. But it's a lot of good people out there. It's a lot of good women. It's a lot of good men out there. But you just have to be very discerning with how you're going about the process.
I wonder why come my things are not showing up with the
Oh, I see it.
yeah, but I don't see the line under it. You know how I normally have the lines under it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm. It may still be there, but I don't see the line on it. Where is my
Oh,
video? Look at my
I think someone asked, how do I know all the apps? Because I've been on all the apps at some point.
where's
yeah,
my
I've been on all the apps at some point, and there are some that are
Oh yeah,
good.
they have it on now on YouTube. They see it. Okay,
Yeah,
it's good.
some are good, some are not so good. So yeah, I've figured out that even on the apps, every app is not for you. You got to know
Okay.
who you are, what do you want, what do you expect, because different apps have different things. So um, yeah. But
I
once
find from what I've seen here on YouTube, they use this app uh, for the dating game and the mating game and the playing game. And what I did not know, and Greg told me when I first came, told him I wanted to do it because one good thing I love about him, we've been able to have a real relationship, friendship, and that's my bestest friend.
yeah,
I hear parents say, "I'm not friends with my children." Shame on you. You have to be a parent. But now that same word that everybody say they believe in says in order to have a friend, you got to show yourself friendly. So if you
friendly.
don't teach your child what a friend is, how the fuck they gonna know who to trust as a friend? Now,
Mhm.
but he know who. Now I like Toothless Tiger, but I'm a lioness. He know who the damn head lioness is, and we don't have no issues.
Yeah,
And that's been the way his whole life. But one thing he was telling me, warning me about the things that happen out here, the doxing and the stuff like that, that I had no clue about, the shit people will go to and go through to hurt you or somebody you care about or whatever. So
oh yeah,
he forewarned me of those things, but I never thought I would see any of that kind of stuff. And then when the breakup of Kwame Brown and one of the other big content creators broke up, and lines were drawn, and we chose sides. So whether you wanted to choose sides or not, you were made to choose a side. And then you find out that nobody is playing fair. Nobody is who you think they are. One thing that Dick Gregory taught, and I love Dick Gregory, he said, anytime you think you're choosing the lesser of the two evils. You're choosing the evilest of the evil because there is no lesser.
No.
So what I had to come back to myself after the things that has been happening to me over the last couple of weeks, and then not to mention losing, my niece at 43 to ovarian cancer, and then being out of electricity Sunday from 3:30 p.m. to 11:15 the next day, Monday. I had to reassess myself, and I had to let go of some things and some people, and I had to realize that if all of my subscribers leave because of this decision that I made to be true and integral to who I am, then so be it.
Yeah.
But I have a few good people that come here because they're here for me, not for any trickery, not because somebody told them to like me, not because they said come. I don't get a lot of money, and people say I'm slick this, and no, I'm not. I put in a lot of hard work. Shit, I
Yeah.
would love to hear my cash app ringing, but it doesn't. So I can't get mad at nobody because, again, I would do this for free. But if you're giving away money, shit, I want some too. I ain't slick dissing on no goddamn body. Get your money, boo boo, as R. Kelly would say. I just want some too, But this is a business for me. I do need to get with you for real, so to help me in my branding of this Toothless Tiger thing, because it's great, and I just think that we all can help each other.
Yeah.
I would like for you to come back again one day if you would like to come back with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
My
yeah.
people have, questions. Like I said, I have some faithful people that really care about me and the message that I give. And so that's what matters to me. If I don't get the 2,000, I'm going to be sad, but I can live with it.
Yeah.
I
That's
really
it.
can. As long as my people keep coming, I think eventually I'll keep growing because I don't want to grow too big. I'm 63. I have congestive heart failure. I don't do much. So I don't want to do much, but I want to be here for those that's here for me.
Yeah,
And I want
absolutely.
to help those that my voice can reach. And, we're the dying breed now. I'm the senior citizen. And so I want to leave anybody that will listen to the sound of my voice with as much knowledge as I can before I go. We're at
Absolutely.
five, we're at 3 minutes. If you want to take the last 2 minutes, and then I'm going to acknowledge the people that gave with the cash apps before we let go. So give us something in 2 minutes that will blow our socks off.
2 minutes. Well, I'll just say, once again, like, thank you for having me on. Like, I want to say thank you to Greg and anybody else who told me about the program. Everybody is, like, extremely nice. And I'll just say this and just be, like, encouraging on your end. It can definitely get there. I mean, all it takes is likes and subscribes and people talking about it. And, at the end of the day, people are hungry for content and people are
Mhm,
hungry for community right now.
mhm,
There's so many bad people in the world. There's so many different voices that aren't trying to push you in the right direction. So the
mhm,
fact that you have someone like yourself who is honest, who's sincere, who's hard work, who's trying to help, okay, there's nothing to do but grow
mhm,
because that's something that people want. You know, I mean, I'm looking at other YouTubers. I mean, Kwame Brown. I've seen some of his work. His isn't the most polished, but
no,
he still has a lot of followers. You know,
mhm.
because at the end of the day, people want sincerity. People want to know that you care, and so I appreciate being on the show, and hopefully I'll be able to come back and help out wherever I can, and I can drop knowledge if I can.
That's fantastic. So, on that note, Nathan, I'm going to acknowledge the people that gave, and I thank you for coming. If you want me to
Oh,
take you down, I
absolutely.
can take you down, or you can leave, whichever way you want to do it, or you can hold on while I do that and
Oh,
close
okay.
out.
I'll just go ahead. You can just go ahead and send me to the background, and I'll just kind of you
Okay,
know I can just look from back here.
okay, fantastic. All right, everybody, another great interview, but I got to put some respect on the people that gave, so I want to do that. I thank you so very much for those of you that gave, and I'm trying to find this from Chase. Okay. once I put the respect on it, I will be clocking out. And I want to say thank everybody for another great Tuesday, giving them something to talk about. Join me Sunday. It shall be a great one.
This video was made for education and entertainment purposes only. There's no malice or ill intent from the content creator. So please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great evening. Good night.